What's good? We're back in this thing. Today we're going to be going over this 3D freeze frame transition that kind of spirals in. It's a really unique transition that I haven't really seen done anywhere else besides this music video. It's basically taking the elements of like what was popular with the freeze frame transitions and making it into a 3D object. It almost looks like some kind of blown up like doll version of the subject when you do it. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. It's really cool and it's pretty simple to do. The only thing you need is Element 3D for After Effects. So if you don't have that, go ahead and get it because you're going to need it for this tutorial. And then we're just going to be using a free website to make the 3D object and the texture. So you don't have to put in barely any work. You just need Element 3D to turn it into a 3D object inside of After Effects. Before we get into the video, if you're new here, what I do is a lot of music video effect breakdowns and tutorials. So if you haven't already subscribed, because I think 60-something% of you guys that are watching these videos are not subscribed, and I'm going for 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you and one of your editor friends decide to subscribe, I think I'd pretty much be at my goal. It's free to subscribe, and if you like one of these tutorials, I'm sure you'll like a bunch of other on my channel. I upload 3 times a week. So there's bound to be something you'll like. It also really does help if you like and comment. So let's go for 1,000 likes, 100 comments on this video. It takes a second out of your time, and it's a great way to give me feedback and kind of let me know what I did right in the tutorial, what I did wrong, maybe a suggestion that you have in the future. Also, if you want to go above and beyond and support me as a creator, as well as get yourself some music video editing assets, you can go over to my website, briandelmata.com. I'll have a link below. I have a texture pack that allows you to get those OG and Lone Wolf style paper effects and transitions. I have a CRT pack that's available in After Effects and Premiere, as well as a thermal pack that's available in Premiere and soon come into After Effects. I spend a lot of time on these packs. They're really high quality and it's designed to save you time. So if you get one, let me know in the comments. I really appreciate you. But yeah, that's enough talking. Let's get into the video. Before we do that, let's make sure we credit the editors. This video is in Russian, by the way. I believe the editor is PQ and skip a frame. It says visual by, so I'm assuming that's what the VFX is. If I can find their Instagrams or something or some way to contact them, I'll have them linked below. But PQ and skip a frame seem to be the editors on this one, and I'll also have the music video linked below if you're interested. So now that we're in After Effects, you're going to be basically in After Effects for the whole entire effect here. I'll show you kind of what I came up with, a little version. I just had it spin around pretty quickly. You can see it's like a, see what I'm talking about. It's like an inflatable version of the subject. I think it's really cool. You can make it go as fast as you want or whatever. For example, this is what they had. But yeah, I just cut it out and made my own version. You can animate it however you want, but we'll get to that in a moment. This is what theirs looked like. So to start the effect, you want to go to the first frame in one of your clips here. So you can see it transitions. It should just be a hard cut between the two. And you're going to want to take a screenshot of the first frame in the second clip. So to do that, you can go over to Composition, Save Frame As, File. And once you do that, it should say your composition name.psd. And then I'm going to go to Output Module here and go to Photoshop. And instead of Photoshop, we're just going to use a PNG sequence. Click OK. And since it's just one frame, it's just going to render out one frame there. And then just make sure you know where you saved it to. I saved it to one of my folders here. And then I'm going to have this linked in the description, but the website is monstermash.zone. And you're going to go up here into the top left and create a new file. It's going to ask you, do you want to start over from scratch? You're going to click OK. Then you're going to go to this folder thing, the drop down arrow, and click Import Template Image. And then you're going to navigate to the file you just found. If you're zoomed out and it's hard for you to see, you can hold Control on your keyboard while scrolling in Chrome to zoom in. Makes it a little bit easier. And then just kind of line it up around your subject. I'm going to go ahead and click Draw here. And then just click around your subject and draw. Make sure to do it in one continuous stroke so it doesn't split it up into different objects. I try to do as best as possible, but I think because it's such a fast transition, it's not really too important how smooth it is. You'll be able to see what it looks like before so you can verify if you want it or want to make it better. Then once you do that and you close it off, go ahead and click Inflate. What that's going to do is inflate your image into a 3D. It's going to basically make a copy on the back. You can click this globe over here to kind of move around and see what yours looks like. I think it looks pretty good. It just inflated it and then made it a copy on the back, so it's like 3D. Click this down arrow over here and then go to export the current animation as an object file. You can also animate this, but we're not going to be going over that in this tutorial. Just click that, and if it asks you to allow multiple things to be downloaded, go ahead and click allow. It's going to download the object file, the MTL, and the PNG. For this, you're going to need the object file and the PNG. Then we're going to go back into After Effects, go right click down here, create new, and create solid. And then once you do that, go ahead and type in element into the effects and controls and drag that on. And like I said, you do need Element. This is not a free plugin. It's by Video Copilot. I'll have it linked below as well. But that is what you're going to need to be able to make 3D objects in the software. So then once you do that, you can go ahead and click Scene Setup in the top left on your solid layer object, and it should open you into Element 3D. Then go ahead and click Import, and then mine is in the Downloads file. It's called the frame by default, and go ahead and click Open, click OK. And then we need to skin the object because you can see it's completely white here. It's also really small. We'll make it bigger in a second. Go ahead and go to this cube up here where it says frame, click the drop arrow. It should say default. Where it says default, make sure you go down here to material type and textures, click diffuse, and where it says none set, click on that and then click load texture, and then go to your downloads as well, and it should have the frame here. And then go ahead and click OK. You also might have to go to frame here and go to this little 4 checkered area right here, the third one to the right for me, and then go to texture mapping and make sure it says UV. It might be box preserved aspect by default, but make sure it says UV. Then I went ahead and while clicked on frame here, went to this 4 arrowed and then go to scale. I'm gonna make it like 5,000 and we're gonna see what that looks like. Maybe it's way too big, maybe it's not. You go to 3,500. Basically just want to make it decent size, and if everything went right when you imported the texture, it should have the texture just how it was on the website. If not, be sure to go to frame, make sure to do that UV thing, as well as when you import it, make sure you import not the screenshot you took, but the PNG file that the website gave you as a download. And then if you want, you can play with the basic settings to kind of give it a different look if you want. You can play with the glossiness. I think that's a pretty cool one. I might just crank it all the way up for the sake of the tutorial. And then maybe even the environment multiplier, just so it's a little bit brighter and looks a little bit more 3D. And then go ahead and click OK. And once you do that, it should open up and you could see the clone. And depending on the size you made, I don't know why the object file is so small from that website, but you can go back into scene setup and maybe make it a little bit bigger. You don't really have to, you can scale it up, but it's not going to be as high quality. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it in here to fix that, and maybe just do 5,000 like I was before. Then go ahead and click OK. And then that's closer. I'm not going to worry about it too much. And then go to the solid still, go to world transform, and then as well as world transform, go ahead and open world rotation. And then I'm going to go to the frame right where it splits. I'm going to scale it up so it fits over the subject here, Morgenstern. That's what I did. I just moved the world position XY and the world scale so it fits. You don't have to be like super precise, but just try to match it up as best as possible. And then I'm gonna go like 20 frames to the left. So I held shift and just clicked previous frame twice. That goes 10 frames each time. I'm gonna go ahead and click Control Shift D there, as well as Control Shift D right where it splits, and then delete both of those. And then you can see you already have that 3D looking freeze frame. All you have to do is go ahead and animate the keyframe position of the world transform. So I'm gonna go ahead and open that up down here just so we can see a little bit better. So some things you wanna do probably are play with the rotations. X is gonna have it flip over head over toes here. Y is gonna have it rotate like this, and then Z is going to do the spin. You can do a combination of all of them. You can do just one. You don't have to do any of them. You can play with the scale. But before we keyframe anything, I'm gonna go to the last frame here in the clip and just keyframe everything to right where it's at. The world scale position, everything. So all of the values, so when it does get to the end, it's gonna be in the right spot. And then go to the first frame, and now you can play around with it whatever you want. I'm gonna go ahead, maybe do rotation and have it do like 3 spins. So you can go ahead and just type in 3 there. And then I'm also going to go to the world scale and click 0. So that way it comes out and you can see it does a lot of spins. I think that's a little too fast for us here. It's all dependent on how long your clip is. Let's maybe try 1.5. I think that's a lot better there. I'm gonna have it go 1 frame over so it actually lines up on this clip, but I'm still gonna have it line up right there. So now you can see it kind of goes over the clip properly. And if you wanted it to be done there, you could just highlight all of these, and I always recommend just easy easing them. So if you highlight all the keyframes and then click F9 on your keyboard, it's gonna easy ease them, or if you want, you can just right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. And we'll see what that looks like. It's a pretty clean transition. And maybe just so we can see the transition a little bit better, I'll change the clip it comes from. So it's not all that crazy colors. You can see a little bit better there. And you can see maybe it's a little dark for you, so you can go in and you could play with it in the scene setup, or you could also just go to render settings, physical environment, and maybe play with the exposure and maybe some of these settings. I'm not super good with 3D. I'm a little bit newer to Element, so I'm sure there's better ways of changing it to match, but that's just what I found works. And yeah, maybe I'll show you what it looks like to keyframe a multiple of these positions. So I'm just gonna go ahead, go to the first frame again, type in 1.5 just so we can see where it's gonna start, go halfway through and have it rotate a little bit more than a full time. So you can see how you can combine the rotations. It's a little crazy fast, or you can just do kind of what they did and have it rotate in like that. I think that's a really clean one, honestly. You could even keyframe the position of the world. So again, just bringing it so I can see it, the scale, and then maybe have it come from the side here, and then make sure to bring the scale back down to 0. That's pretty cool. It just slides in like that. And then if you do have it come from the side, maybe you don't need it to change scale, so it just comes in like that instead. That's pretty cool. And then you could really go crazy with it and kind of add effects on top of the Element 3D. Some glow would look really cool, so I'm gonna use Sapphire Glow. Go ahead and drag that on, and then you could just keyframe the brightness or something. You could add flicker, maybe turbulence displace. I feel like turbulence displace would look cool on this because it just has like a warpy look to it. Start it right here, keyframe the amount, go here and bring it to 0. It adds a little bit of that warpiness to it. Maybe you want it to be a little bit more aggressive or something. Just remember that you did make it 3D and you spent the time to make it 3D, so I wouldn't distort it too much where you couldn't tell that it's like a 3D object. Like even like this, you might just think it's like some using like distort or something. So always keep that in mind. You can add flicker, a bunch of different effects, basically whatever you want on it. I would recommend making it your own. Like I always say, don't copy this, try it with different things other than people, a bunch of other stuff. I'm just excited to see what you guys can come up with using this. I thought it was a really cool and unique transition that I haven't really seen anywhere else yet. So shout out to the editors. Like I said, if I can find their Instagrams, I'll have them linked below. Definitely go show love. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for you guys in this one. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I'll have it linked below as well as my website. If you want some high quality music video editing assets, go ahead and check that out. But yeah, guys, peace.